Hello, my name is Lilian Abigail Benavides, and I feel so happy to have you here watching my video. Welcome to my reflection stage video. I will be talking about my experience during the teaching practice tour, and I will try to give answer to some questions related with my experience. The first one is, did you feel prepared in each of the classes you taught? First of all, I want to mention that this was a long-awaited experience. I felt very excited to start mainly what will be the last stage of my career. Therefore, I took my time to prepare, study, and plan each activity that I will develop during the course. Also, there were subjects of which I already had knowledge and I was already handling them, and I will always took the time to be able to review and study the contents again and add something else if it were necessary. What about the objectives? Related with the objectives, I consider that the goals in this project, in this course, were achieved because I could see it while during doing each of the practices with my student. I can say that he had actually learned because he was putting into practice everything he has seen in class. So, in short, at the end of the course, I can say that it was a mission accomplished since apart from finishing each of the content, my student learned what was expected in each class. What type of methodology, strategies, and techniques I use? The type of methodology implemented during the course was very varied, in which, depending on the subject and the student's level of English, was going to define what type of methodology was going to be used. But in summary, during the development of the course, most of all, the grammar translation method was used in a cooperative learning, since I think that it's very essential that learning has to be with a cooperative learning, being meaningful for the student. The evaluations activities, as well as known, the evaluation as the follow-up must be maintained throughout the development of the class. For the evaluation, the three types of evaluation were always taken, which are before, during, and after the class. That this means that you carry out activities for the evaluation of the students, take into account different activities for their measurement of learning. At the time, like for example, making the reviews or brainstorm at the beginning of the class, I was evaluating the previous knowledge they had. During the class, questions were also asked or they were asked to complete some activities. And finally, the summative evaluation that was developed at the end of the class, that is afterward, which consisted of completing exercises, writing stories, etc. So basically, the evaluation was taken during the development of the whole class. What about the follow-up? Related with monitoring the learning process of the student, as a teacher, I consider that this process must be constant. This is from the beginning of the class until it's finished. And the homework is reviewed, right? So I'm not talking about the fact that the follow-up has to do with extra tasks or activities. Because as teacher, it is essential to establish a progress chart for the students and make comparisons in which it is assessed whether the student is progressing or really needs a reinforcement or more practice of the contents. In other words, throughout the class, I kept track of my students' learning. What about the contents and the time? Regarding to the contents and the distribution of the time, only one situation happened to me since really two of the contents had to be divided into two classes due to their content station. It really was something that was not prepared for. I did not realize it when I was planning it, but fortunately, it was possible to divide it into two parts, and then I was going to be able to explain the topics more carefully and extend the explanation in order to the student got the idea. So also I can mention that in two or three classes, the class schedule had to be changed because my student had some personal activities to do. But for the rest, I can say that I took advantage of the time with the contents. Related with the first class and the last class, what was the difference? The difference between the first class and the second class was that in the first class, I was very excited to know how the project would work, to be if I was going to be able to know my students' level of English. And the curiosity invited me to think about if really everything I have planned to develop in each content will work, and if my student will really learn. But the time I got to the last class, I was more excited. I was really feeling really comfortable because I had verified that my student learning process has been a success. That each activity I planned was exactly linked to his learning process. And I feel so proud knowing how much he has been able to achieve. He has been able to learn in such a short time, in a really short period of time. Finally, I would like to share my self learning, my own experience, of what I have learned. And to be honest, I have been practicing the teaching profession for approximately 5 years ago, and thanks God. But I can say that all the experience were totally different for me, with different challenges. From the teaching practice one to the teaching practice two, due to the pandemic, I already had the opportunity and the experience of working with the Google Classroom platform. So it was not difficult for me to adapt myself to that system. And I would like to emphasize that this particular process has been new for me because planning an academy from the very beginning, in which it could be probably just be real in my mind, was a success. I never thought I could put a project of that magnitude into practice. I feel so proud. I feel so happy. Much how much I have learned for the experience of having this project, and mainly because it could be carried out with success, and my student also achieved his goal by trusting on me to learn a little more of the English language. So basically, this experience was amazing, and I could say thank you for giving me the opportunity for being doing uh, teaching practice like in this way. Thank you so much. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your practice. For everything you did during the semester, for your support, and that's it. Thank you so much. Bye.